Oh, apparently I haven't been muted this entire time. Hi! Um, uh, welcome to the Nekoli-Rahl estate. My name is Ken. We are playing Terraformental, which is an incremental game. Uh, it updates once every few months with more content. Uh, and it's a lot of reading. It's text-based. Yeah, no, that tracks. I tend to forget to mute, and because I think I'm muted, I don't actually say anything, and so I just tip 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 tap 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 tap. Anywho, let's continue on from where we were, if it'll let me. No, it's gonna do this. Okay, load, autosave. There we go. Okay, so we're like 14 time loops in, I think. Let me double check real quick. Yeah, 14. Alright, I'm seeing a little bit of lag, but that's normal because my computer is a potato. But anywho, we will continue on. So this game is set on a colony planet that you were part of an effort to terraform. And you wake up in a cryopod, and you're the only one there. Shit's falling apart. Everyone's gone. And in the very first time loop, you have to survive long enough to get to an artifact that allows you to loop time. But you don't know this in the first loop. And if you don't survive to get to the artifact, you die and have to start over. Which, you know. But once you get it, you can go through each time loop getting progressively faster at the tasks that you do. We actually have notes that my character has been taking about everything that's been going on. So we'll start with where we are right now, Talos facility. After waking up alone in a cryopod, my explorations quickly revealed that I was in a terraforming facility named Talos on the surface of a seemingly partially terraformed planet. As far as I can tell, the facility was abandoned some time ago because most of the systems failed, or are about to. I found this PDA in the workshop. I can use it to keep track of any useful information I come across. There's a decent stockpile of supplies here, but once the food synthesizer gives out, I won't last long here. So that gives you a basic gist. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I've been through in 14 time loops so far. I think the longest one was like 20 some odd minutes. But facilities that I've researched so far are Talos, Lorien, and Santorini. The artifacts, there's the time artifact, which is the one that allows you to loop time. There's one in the Lorien facility that I'm trying to dig out. And then there's one in the Santorini facility, which my character doesn't know much about yet. Except for what was written in a diary. Then I need to figure out where everyone went. My tasks so far have been the Talos-Lorien Tunnel, which I discovered. The Lorien's Lost Rover, which I found. Searching for data in Lorien's database as time goes on, and I find new things to look up. And then the Santorini Dam, which I've been to. And then we had this nice little map that builds up over time. And clicking on each one of these things allows me to go to the data entries in the notes. So, now that we are awake again in loop 14, we're going to get up, which, as time has gone on and I've gotten used to doing everything, it's a bunch of tasks put together. So, we'll be opening the cryopod, drinking some water, taking water bottles, repairing the upper floor, which requires repairing the generator and lifting the lockdown, then taking supplies. So we're going to go ahead and hit that button to get started. It's going to take 40 seconds to do. I'm almost done with my coffee. So as you can see now that things are getting going, there's more stuff to do. And that shows up in my little list here. And these are my supplies. And then this is what's going on. So now we've got all that going. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit gather supplies one more time to make sure I get everything. Because I like having my stocks full. Before I go anywhere or do anything. Then we're going to go ahead and fill our reserve air tanks because, as you can see, the carbon filters are about to fail. Oh, okay. Have fun. Oh, okay. So yeah, I just filled up my air tanks. Now I'm going to hit gather supplies one more time because there's still some basic food I can grab. Then we're going to repair the rover, which will allow me to explore the surface of the planet. Gonna add that to the list. Then hit gather supplies again, load generator onto the rover, and gather supplies again. So that's going to take 2 minutes to go. And so I just get to sit back and relax while my character does his thing. There's a little blurb here. Because I woke up. As you quickly down the bottle of water, you consider your next move. The obelisk you found in Lorien Mining Wing is constantly in the back of your mind. Whatever is inside must be pretty important for them to have built an entire facility around it. You've got to get back there and drill deeper. Santorini definitely isn't easy to reach, but you're confident that you can make it with sufficient preparation. So the rover's almost done repairing. I can't wait till the time on that gets way down so I can get out of the Talus facility quickly. I don't know if there's been any recent updates on this. The last one was a hotfix on the 15th, and before that was a balance update on the 12th. I have all but one of the achievements so far. Okay, so we are done with all that basic stuff. I'm going to go ahead and grab the other 5 metal sheets, just so that that is faster in the future. I'm going to leave in the rover after I hit gather supplies one more time just to make sure everything is full. Now we're going to leave and head to Lorien. Alright, so take Tunnel to Lorien, which is going to take just over a minute. The music in this game is interesting and weird. It's very atmospheric. It definitely gives you the sense of not being on Earth. One of the things that I really like about these text-based choose-your-own-adventure games is that I can run a poll when I want the audience to decide what I do next. Assuming there's anyone here to watch. Alright, we got another 8 seconds on this travel. Alright, we made it to Lorien. I'm gonna pause real quick just so I can choose my stuff. And then I'll unpause and let it run. So we're gonna gather the Lost Rover supplies, which means traveling all the way to the rover, salvaging what we can, and coming back. Then get the supplies from outside and install the portable generator in Lorien. So we're going to unpause that. It's going to take 2.5 minutes. One of the great things about this game is, like I said earlier, it just kind of runs on my potato while I stream. And because each thing requires a set amount of time, it allows me to talk to whoever's around. So I can actually hold a conversation. Or I can derp around on my phone. Alright, we're almost done getting the supplies from the Lost Rover. Now we're getting the supplies from outside. And taking the generator into the facility itself. Because its generators were overworked due to the large amount of people that were here when Talos was abandoned. Alright, installing the generator. Then what we're going to do is we're going to start the generator, get that process started, and then when it lets me, bring the rover inside. And that'll allow me to install the empty cells into the rover. Grab the supplies. Alright. Now, we're going to unlock the admin door, add the rest of the fuel to the generator. So is there anything new to learn? Doesn't look like it. Take the protein bars. I'm going to need them. Make sure I'm full up on everything. Now we're going to open the mining wing. Which takes a minute. Then we're going to enter the mining wing. Now, because I didn't bring a power coupler with me, it's going to lock me in. But that's fine because I'm working on digging out the artifact. So we're going to go ahead and hit go on digging the 4th layer. Going to pause, go, pause, go, pause, go, pause. I figure if I can just kind of eke this out a little bit, I can actually make it to the last layer before I die of thirst. There we go. Okay. 4th layer is done. So you must be nearly through to the center. There's probably only one layer left. The obelisk has stopped generating heat, thankfully, but it is releasing some kind of gas as you cut into it. You wonder what kind of effect it might have on your suit. And that added new information to my PDA on the Lorian artifact. Now, we've only got 46 seconds of water left, which is unfortunate, but what can you do? So this last bit is only going to drain 3 power per second for 3 times speed. Which is going to suck, especially since it's putting out gas. So we're going to dig. We're going to pause. Dig. Okay, I'm definitely not going to make it. But that's fine. I'll just die and then wake up again. And then we'll come back and finish this off. Because on this layer, water is not going to be an issue. What's going to be an issue is air. We have died in less than 10 minutes. Wake up. Alright, so get up. Once I get that artifact, its effects will be added to my stuff. I'm not going to say what those effects are because my character doesn't know, and so if my character doesn't know, I'm going to pretend I don't know. But it's definitely something worth getting. Alright. My character is awake. Gather supplies. Fill my air tanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gather supplies. Fully repair the rover. Gather supplies. Load generator onto the rover. Gather supplies. check my stuff online. Because I like to stay in the know. Alright. Rover's almost done repairing. Alright. Now we've gotten all that taken care of. Gonna leave in the rover. Head back to Lorien so I can finish digging out that thing. You're my soda pop, my little soda pop. I wonder. Keep hearing the song on the radio. I know what it's from. I do not speak Korean though. So a lot of that is just symbols. Alright, I'm gonna gather lost rover supplies and install the generator in Lorien. Alright, I'm gonna grab some Pop-Tarts. Unfortunately, I've got this black hole that I call a stomach. I keep putting food into it, and it's never enough. Alright. Generator's been installed. So we're going to go ahead and start it. In the rover inside. Make sure our air tanks are full. Unlock the admin door. Install the empty power cells into the rover. Oh. All right. Install the water recycler. Now, if I was smart, I would have installed the water recycler first, so it could build up water while I waited. But that requires me to be smart. So we're going to open the mining wing. And then we're going to enter the mining wing. We're going to dig out the 5th layer. We're going to pause briefly. Sup? Just going through some time loops. So this game, the entire point is that you're stuck in a time loop. And you have to figure out... No, I did not. Because I don't expect to survive. Once I'm done digging everything out and getting the artifact, I'm just gonna die. Go back to Talos. Start the loop over. Okay, let the air build up. I did in my first playthrough. But this time around I decided not to. Alright, this time I might actually do it. just because there's only a little bit left in that 5th layer. I have actually played through all the content before the most recent update. But I decided to stream it. I've been to Starbo. I believe. Yeah. Yeah, there was a hot fix on March 15th and a balance update on the 13th. Right now, this is all I got. Alright. Gather supplies. Repair the rover. Gather supplies. Load the generator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gather supplies. I know. It's actually a control for 5 and shift for 10. Though you can only carry 5 of each thing. So doing the 10 stack really doesn't make sense. I love the message for removing the air coupler before air... Yeah. I remember reading that the virus... That would require you to actually make it to Santorini before it explodes and getting back. And that takes a few loops. So I figured I'd just get the artifact and then move on to the next part. Alright. Food coupler, you're coming with me. Alright. Gather supplies. And leaving the rover. DeLorean! Yeah. I know. I've actually rode the trolley into the Santorini hole just for gits and shiggles. I've driven into it. I rode the trolley into it. I sat at Santorini until it exploded. Oh yeah, no, I've done that too. Sometimes, you just kind of feel like sitting there. No, I did not. I didn't know you could. Alright. Rover. Generator. I have to be doing the cross the dam action. Yeah, that's a timing thing. I'm not always great at timing. It's a nice little Easter egg, though. Alright. I've thought about going through the Talos Lorien tunnel back and forth just to shorten the length of it. Technically, you could do that with just about everything. Just repeatedly go back and forth. But that's a lot of time killing. Alright. So we're going to install the water recycler. I'm gonna take the water pouches, take the ration packs. Make sure we're full on everything. Start the generator. Bring the rover inside. Fill air tank. Restock on everything to make sure we're full. Add the rest of the fuel to the generator. Fair. Alright. Then we're going to install empty power cells. Unlock the admin, even though it does nothing. Water bottle. Okay. Open the mining wing. Alright. Entering the wing. Bypass the controls. Alright. Dig the 5th layer. Touch the artifact. Alright. I'll pause that so I can read it. At last, your drill suddenly breaks through the final chunk of obelisk, revealing a small, hollowed-out area in the center. Resting in the middle of the space is an artifact, similar to the one you found in the rover. Where the previous one was swirling in an infinitely complex dance, this one seems almost simple. The tiny cubes which comprise it are forever spilling out from the center, flowing out and around its surface. Oddly, you can't actually seem to see anywhere that they return inward to the center of the artifact. Maybe if you get a little closer. You're somewhat less surprised this time when the artifact responds to your touch by latching onto your arm and pulling itself toward you. However, where the previous artifact simply flowed into your body through your hand, this one seems to continue crawling up your arm before reaching down to the nano storage device on your belt. Moments later, the last traces of the artifact are gone, along with the strange compulsive effect they seem to have on you. Checking your storage device, you're confused to see it seems to have somehow increased the mass of all the resource items you're carrying. From now on, all resource items will restore 25% more resource when consumed. Alright, triggering the bypass. And exiting the mining wing. Connect the rover. Alright, the already dim emergency lights flicker slightly as the rover begins drawing in large amounts of Lorian's limited power to recharge its cells. Alright. Now we're going to uninstall water recycler. Then we're going to load the water recycler onto the rover. Oh, I know. But since I'm already in the facility, uninstalling the generator, I believe, cuts off the power. And I've already used up all the fuel. Take the water pouches, take the ration packs. How much does So 2.4 seconds to leave. Leaving in rover takes 5.3 seconds. So I'll need at least 11 to 12 seconds left on the power. I was getting there. I was just trying to math, which is not my strong suit. Fill water bottles. Alright, now the fun part. Awesome. An insistent tone from the rover informs you that the rover has finished charging. Disconnect. Fill water bottles. Protein bars. And then leaving the rover. Alright. Depart for Santorini. I don't think I have enough power to make it too horribly far. And I've wasted a lot of time, so Santorini might actually not be there. Navigate the rocky terrain. You look across the desert at the border of the rocky region that leads to Santorini, hoping you can get a little further through this time. Well, I've already spent 12 minutes in this loop, and Santorini explodes at 21:50, I think. Yeah. It is. The guy who made this game really put a lot of thought and effort into it, which pleases me. There's another game where you're in a space station and time and space are doing weird shit. Alright. Despite knowing parts of the route, you regularly find yourself at formations you don't find familiar. Sometimes you find a faster route than before, while other times they lead you to new dead ends. You won't be able to find a reliable route through until you find your target on the other side.
Navigate the rocky terrain. Yeah. I haven't actually made it all the way to the dam this time, I don't think. No, because it's doing the partial. Yeah, but I like having the water. Well, like I said, you can do the back and forth thing to train it down to a decent time. Alright. Just about there. I've got more water than I have power, which is good to have. Alright, eventually you reach the edge of the area and have just one last canyon to cross. In fact, it's a river. Somewhere upstream is a glacier with heaters constantly melting the ice to create surface water. This canyon carrying it toward the equator and the warmer climate. It's a shame it likely has all sorts of contaminants and alien bacteria, which would make it risky at best to refill your water bottles from it. What's worse is there's not actually any natural way to cross it, and with a mountain on one end and a sheer cliff on the other, there's no going around it either. The good news is, a dam was built across it, which allows a shallow portion of the river to be crossed when it's closed. You just have to find where exactly on the river it is. Alright. Driving to the crossing. Yeah, having the pressure regulator and the water recycler both in the rover is great because you have water, you have air. All you really got to worry about is food and power. You're easily able to spot the large dam spanning the river, and you're pretty sure you can see the crossing point just below it. But with the dam open, it's still far too deep for you to safely cross. Mary's diary notes that the dam only fully closes when it detects humidity of the surrounding area getting too low. Closing for even a short time forces some of the water to be absorbed into the surrounding soil. It seems you have no choice but to wait for it to be time. Thankfully, the dam seems to be broadcasting a short range signal which contains, among a lot of environmental data, an estimated time for when the dam will next need to be closed. Alright, so we're going to take this moment to pause while the ads run so that we can avoid pre-rolls. So I'm going to see if I can trigger this real quick, and we will be back in 3 minutes. Oh no, I have to wait for it to actually automatically run. Which is fine. Whatever. Ad starts in 30 seconds. Alright. While we're waiting for that. Check my map. Are ads running? That's not what I meant to do. There we go. All right, and we're back. All right, so we have new information on the dam. While we're here and waiting for the dam to close, I'm going to go ahead and hop out of the rover, explore the area. Alright. You spend some time checking out the area around the dam. It seems like there is nothing to find, so you start retracing your steps to the rover. On the way back, you spot something floating in the water near the riverbank, just above the dam. As you get closer, you realize it's a collection of crates caught in some vegetation. Once the dam closes, they'll get lifted off and likely swept away next time it opens. But for now, you should be able to snag some of them to find out what's inside. Starting with the closest crate, with a base of 48 seconds. Alright, you quickly grab the nearby green crate, and with some work are able to pull it up onto the riverbank. It looks in good condition considering the journey it's taken, though the facility name on the side has been completely worn off except for the first letter, P. Regardless, the seal seems good when you open it, revealing a pair of water bottles at the bottom of the crate. Not much, especially after the effort you went to for it, but it'll help extend your supplies a bit. Okay, next we're going to grab the blue crate. Then the green, then the gray. Might have to enter the rover real quick. Yeah, we'll get the first two crates, and then we'll hop in the rover, get some air. As you suspected, while you're easily able to reach the blue crate, getting it free of the various vines and roots it's tangled in takes significant work. You eventually get it out, though, revealing the third letter of the facility name printed on the side, E. Popping the lid, you find some odd sealed tubes. According to the labels on them, they're filtered pure glacial water. Safe for drinking, though the portions are very small compared to what you're used to. Might make for an interesting new flavor, though. And that's the dam closing. A siren begins blaring from the dam shortly before the flow of water begins reducing until it finally stops. With the source shut off for now, the water level of the river below the dam rapidly drops, revealing a raised stony crossing to the other side. Above the dam, the water level rapidly begins to rise, forcing you to move back away from the crates. All you can do is watch as one by one they're lifted off the plants that were caught that they were caught on and begin floating, or in one case being dragged further from shore and out of your reach. fill our air tanks. Then we're going to start crossing. As you reach the other side of the river, you notice a small control booth at the base of the dam. Might be worth checking out to see if there's any other way of causing the dam to close. Inspect the control booth. The booth is extremely minimal, but you do learn that it has short-range communications. Now that you know the comm code, you can link your rover to the dam and extend it whenever you need. No more waiting. Alright. So... fill our water bottles. And then drive up the hill. As you reach the top of the hill, you're finally able to see Santorini in the distance. It looks very different from the stations you've been to before. It lacks the surrounding support structures, but seems to consist of several medium-sized compounds spread over a large area, connected by large cables and pipes. It'll still take you a while to get there, but for now the path runs along the top of a ridge, allowing you to keep Santorini in view. We'll just make it through the ridge. You died. An immense burst of energy ripples outward from where Santorini once stood, vaporizing all matter in its path. You don't even feel anything. In an instant, you simply cease to exist. It seems their fears of the artifact exploding were well founded, though you're not sure whether it was triggered by something you did, or if you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Perhaps if you can reach Santorini, you'll have time to learn more. You were vaporized along with Santorini after 21 minutes and 22 seconds. Wake up. Glacier Facility, Santorini, Lorien. Santorini Dam, and crates. Alright, get up. So we're going to gather supplies, fill our air tanks, repair the rover, gather supplies, load generator, gather supplies. Do 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 do. Boop 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 boop. All right. So we take the last of the metal sheets. Gather supplies. Leave in the rover. All right. I am going to find a route to the dam from Talos. Because why not? Having more options is not necessarily a bad thing. So we're going to stop finding the route for now. With what little power we have. We've got a Lorian. Get the supplies. So, Dam Telos Road. Once achieved, you never touch Dam Lorien again. I'm going back to Lorien to gather the supplies, then I'm going to go back to Talos and search for the route. This will give me the chance to install the power cells into the rover. I know, but even then, you still need the fuel pellets. Wait. Think. Think, Ken. Use that brain. Lorien is also the hub for information, so if anything new has popped up into the computers to search, which doesn't look like it has. Add more fuel to the generator. Hit wait. Oh, right. Almost forgot. Most important step in all of this. Another fuel. I forget at what point you get the solar panels. I think that might be when you actually hit Santorini. Disconnect. Uninstall. Never mind. Just leave in the rover. Alright. Take the tunnel to Telos. It's still really tempting to go back and forth between Talos and Lorien just to diminish the time needed. Jeez, that's a lot of stuff. Copper axe, stone axe, tomato seeds, tree seeds, teak seed, logs, lead axe, roasted acorn, hairy seed, acorn, emerald. Yeah, finding the route to the dam from Talos takes more energy. And then finding the route from the dam to a strape. So you can bypass Santorini altogether. Oh, that's what I forgot to do. Poop. Oh well. I forgot to grab the water recycler. Which is fine. I'll just die. Yeah, one of the biggest problems with these games is actually remembering to do things. I'm not gonna make it. Death by dehydration. Not a great way to go. Can you really consider it a success to just reach Lorien anymore? You're confident you've learned all there is to learn here for now. It's time to move on. Okay. Gotta get up, grab a brush, and put a little makeup. Hide the scouts fade with a shake-up. Here you go, create another fable. Why'd you leave the keys on the table? I know I did that backward. Boop, 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 boop. Alright, rows repaired. I don't have enough power for that. So, time Lorien. Which is almost at X2. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and I'm gonna do this, grab the water recycler. Alright, so we're going to start the generator. Bring the rover inside. Fill air tank, grab rations and water. Install the power cells. Load the recycler on rover. Install the recycler, connect the charger, and add fuel. Unlock the admin door. Grab protein bars. And wait. Fuel and continue to wait. Hello. Welcome to the estate. We're doing timed bullshit. Alright,
Charged. Okay. Now we're going to make sure that we're full up on our supplies. Then we're going to disconnect and leave. Then we shall drive to the dam. How you doing, puppets and dragons? Well, make sure you let Chaos know. Driving to the dam takes so much time. So I'm just going to do some shoutouts real quick. Because I can. You can't stop me. Alright, another 50 seconds, or well, yeah, 50 seconds. Alright. Now we're here. I'll leave the rover. Meow. Copy pasta. Alright. Crate number 1. This space has been suspiciously blank for a minute, which is kind of annoying. Means I might have to restart the game, but I don't want to. Yep, game's glitching. There's supposed to be stuff. So we'll just go to the notes. Okay, letters I found so far are P, E, and A. It's hard to tell whether it's a 6 or 7 letter long word. So once we reach the end of this loop, I'll probably restart the game. And hope that that fixes it. Thinking about it. Okay, we've got our crates and all the supplies within. Gotta quickly refill our water. Refill our air. Close the dam. I don't have enough power for that. So we're going to cross towards Santorini. Drive up the hill. Alright. And now, drive around the plateau, which is a persistent. Okay, we got a little bit of time left. So we're going to go ahead and go to the central compound. God of Travelers and Wisdom. That definitely sounds like a you patron. At least in video games. Alright. So this place is about to explode. So while I have time, we're gonna go ahead and explore the workshop. Someone was mentioning the possibility of playing DTI later. Inspect the blueprints. Alright. Explosion's coming. So like I said, at the end of this loop, I'm gonna restart the game because we're missing story elements. You died. Whatever's triggering the artifact, it doesn't seem to be directly related to anything you were doing. It happened at the same moment last loop. You'll have to try to learn more next time. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and save real quick. Gonna quit for the moment. And then relaunch. All right. Oh, apparently we have an ad starting soon. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick, and we will be back after these messages. Sorry, I stepped away to talk to Chaos about the audio issue. Alright, so now that we're awake, we're going to gather our supplies. Refill our air tanks. Repair the rover. Load the generator. Gather supplies. So do you have hair and makeup set up for each category, or do you just have a couple? Out of curiosity.
So I have a couple of different makeups for different categories, but I haven't finished making faces yet.
Fair.
I have like a very nature-looking one.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like greenish tint and all that stuff. And then I've got one that's really kind of gothic looking. And I've got Danica that's made like, hi, Effie. Yeah, I do live here too.
But yeah, that makes sense. And I'm sure that a couple of them can be used for multiple categories.
So I know like my goth one could be, I can use that probably for the emo category and just add or switch a couple of little things on it. Like there's a couple of really good ones. I think it could also be alternative use for the sad cabin, like for characters crying kind of route, you know.
Yeah, when it comes to the different types of goth, like cyber goth is a lot of purples and greens and blues. Gothic Lolita.
I chose the wrong skirt. I fucked myself.
Oh, so there was a joke that crossed my mind earlier that I wanted to tell you. I've got a dark aesthetic and mental illness. I have gothism. No, just me.
Oh my god.
I love you too. Gather supplies. Leave and rover. So we need to speed run our way to Santorini. As much as I would like to spend time trying to find a route to the dam, that's going to have to wait. So we're gonna go to Lorien. And now we have all this extra information. As you quickly down a bottle of water, you consider your next move. If you can reach Santorini faster, you'll have more time to explore before it's destroyed again. Maybe you can even find a way to prevent it from happening. Let's see here. Go to notes real quick. Go down to the crates. I found some crates at the dam which seem to have been carried down the river, presumably from a facility built on or near the glacier which feeds it. Facility name printed on the side seems to have been mostly washed off, and I only got a few letters by collecting each of the crates. I'll have to find some other way to get the remaining letters. The letters I found so far are P blank E blank 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 A or P blank E blank 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 A. It's hard to tell whether it's 6 or 7 letters long. And then the 3 compounds which make up Santorini are connected via tram system. It's likely a much faster way of moving between them than my rover. I should check if it's working. I checked around the plateau for any other route, but short of finding a working aircraft or some serious climbing gear, it looks like the tram is the only way I'll get up there to reach the 3rd compound. Then the artifacts. Each loop, a wave of pure energy emanates from Santorini, vaporizing matter in a huge area. Seems too much of a coincidence for the artifact to not somehow be related. I've experienced it multiple times at the exact same moment, so I doubt I caused it directly. Unlike the previous facilities I visited, this one is split into 3 smaller compounds. One sits on top of a plateau and seems like it can only be reached via a tram. The second sits across the entrance to the quarry, and the third looks like some kind of barracks or living quarters. And here's the map. So there is a way to get from Talos to the dam. I don't know if there's a way to get from Talos to Santorini, though. I don't think so. What I can do is I can get the spare fuel cells, or power cells, equip them into the rover, head to the dam after charging the rover, and then trying to find the route between the dam and Talos. But for now, we're going to gather the supplies and install the generator. And do it the hard way. So I don't know if you heard, but the guy who played Xander in Buffy the Vampire Slayer unfortunately passed away. And just as they were starting to get everything together for the Buffy reboot. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it time?
Well, if I could just barely hear myself say that.
Well, I do have the curtain closed. And that does eat a little bit of the sound. Not a lot, but some. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start the generator so we can bring the rover in. Then we're going to connect the rover to the charger. Add fuel to the generator. Load and install the water recycler.
Why are you yelling at Captain? Why are you yelling at Captain? Why are you yelling? You need spoons? Come on, get smushed.
All right. No new information yet. Hello, sweet kitten. Always in Lorien looking at the computers. Before I forget. One more fuel pellet. Capsule, whatever. Give it another weight. Like I said, Lorien is the central hub for information. If there's any keywords... Streaking! Make sure I'm full up on everything. Disconnect and leave. Alright, yeah. Alright. Drive to them. Yep, Santorini time. I should go to the quarry first just to get the suit. I'll actually have to go to a strape to get the code to do the tram thing, but that'll take time. Well, no, but it does give you a little bit of extra oomph. Yeah, the motors are important. Excuse me. Hello, Winter. Are you comfy? Are you comfy? Let's have a look at your eyes real quick. Let's have a look-see. Get that taken care of. That's gotta feel better.
I just need to get that little bit of white stuff there.
You know why she dresses so much? That closes her eyes? Because we literally have to wink her eyes.
She's such a good girl.
Yeah, I bet that feels better, doesn't it? Such a good girl.
Such a purry baby. Alright, putting that up.
All better. For the moment.
Such a good girl. Yes, you are. You're a good girl. With the lazy tail flicks. Flick. 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 Alright. Gonna close the dam. And drive towards Santorini. Drive up the hill. I will later. Getting the solar stuff will help with that. Yeah. That is definitely one way to do it. My plans usually tend to have a lot of working parts. I thought about doing that. Boop. Alright. Going to the quarry. Oh, I still have 7 minutes. Good timing for Chioka to save that. To say that. Alright, the majority of the compound covering the entrance to the quarry turns out to be open space. A short wall surrounds the compound, while the inside is divided into numerous large areas by rough markings on the ground. The only exceptions are 2 spaces at the end, which have scaffolding and tools set up around them. You realize it must be a parking and maintenance area for large vehicles, most likely the assorted mining machines you've started to occasionally spot over the rim of the quarry. The only other buildings in the compound are a lone control tower which overlooks the quarry with a large tram cargo station connected to its base. The tracks continue out the other side, heading further south through the highlands, but they're blocked by a gate. Hopefully you can find a way to open it. So we're going to go ahead and hop out of the rover. Hack the quarry gate. This is like the best Easter egg. It says it's going to take 3 minutes, and you're like, ah, God, another 3-minute hack. And then it's just like, you barely even start to look for a way into the system when you realize that the gate controls aren't secure at all. Much like the dam, all you need to do is send the right signal, and you can even open it from your rover. It's like, yeah, it's going to take forever. Not. Unfortunately, I am about to expire because I am out of water. Wait, no. Be smart, Ken. Return to rover. Hopefully I have enough time. Yes! Because I am an idiot. I completely forgot I had installed the water recycler. Alright. Leave the rover. Explore the service bays. You comfy, Winter? Alright. Take the fuel capsules. "40 completions and 60 similar actions." Yeah. Alright, gonna search the lockers. Water, take the food, put on the environmental suit. Alright, so despite their small size relative to a full vehicle bay, the service bays are a very efficient design and are fully equipped for disassembling, repairing, and reassembling any vehicle up to and including the huge automated mining machines moving around the quarry below you. Among the tools you find a stash of fuel capsules. Some of the vehicles must run off them. Both bays currently stand empty, but if you could find a way to bring one of the machines back here, then you could easily access and remove any components you want. The tower's airlock releases you into a locker room. Assorted storage units line the walls and benches run down the center. One door at the far end is labeled as the staircase to the control room at the top, while another door to the side seems to lead to the tram station. The lockers were clearly used by the staff for storing their lunch, and there are supplies in many of them. However, it's the suits which really interest you. All this time you've been wearing an emergency suit, intended only for short-term usage under dire conditions. It served you well enough, but these are proper environment suits, stronger, better insulated, and perhaps best of all, fitted with large air and water reservoirs. Hopefully, there's one in your size. So more water, more food, same amount of food, but more air. But you can still only hold 5 of each. So, yay. Gonna take 20 seconds to explore the tram station. The tram stop seems to be largely automated, intended for loading the raw ores and materials mined out by the machines onto a train for transport to another compound. Several consoles seem to provide diagnostic and limited control over the automated cargo loading systems, while a lone console at the passenger end is provided for summoning the tram. Call the tram. You try summoning the tram, but it stubbornly refuses. According to the error display, the tram is currently at the Strape facility and is somehow blocked from leaving. Seems like you'll have to drive there in your rover if you want to use the tram. Next time you're near Lorien, it may be worth seeing if it has any information on the new facility. Search the control room. Wow. 11 years, that's an old picture. Facebook memories, go! Alright, the upper floor of the tower is wider than the base and features a wide array of windows overlooking the quarry below. Banks of terminals fill most of the room, each one showing assorted views from the cameras of the mining machines. This allows the viewer to take manual control if needed for investigating unusual scanner readings or digging out urgently required materials. You should be able to use them to recall one of the machines back to the service base. Once there, you could easily dismantle almost any part of it for your own use. Recall. Oh yeah. Okay, return to rover. Since I've only got 3 minutes left. I'm gonna refill my air. Acquire water. Actually, I'm going to wait here for the mining machine to come back, then do the little ditty with it.
And done. Leave the rover. Inspect the mining machine. At your command, the huge vehicle slowly starts making its way back out of the quarry. It'll take a while to reach the service bay, though. Another 12 seconds. Alright, the immense digger is built on such a different scale to your rover, and for such a different purpose, that most of the components would be woefully incompatible. The only thing which catch your eye are the motors. They're far more powerful than your rovers, designed for moving heavier loads. Another 30 seconds. They're definitely larger than the current ones, but with the right tools, you could easily cut a few holes to fit them in. Then again, you'd need some extra metal to reseal the holes afterward. If you can fit them, they'll give you a pretty hefty speed boost at the cost of draining power several times faster. Even a full charge on the extra cells you've installed wouldn't keep these beasts running for long. Perhaps you'd be better off bringing a method of recharging on the move. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this real quick. To give it that initial speed boost from the first time go. We're going to return to the rover. Follow the tracks toward a strape. And then vaporize. Okay. Get up. As you quickly down the bottle of water, you consider your next move. If you don't mind a detour back to Lorien, it might be a good idea to learn more about this Estrait facility you heard about at Santorini. If you can reach Santorini faster, you'll have more time to explore before it's destroyed again. Maybe you can even find a way to prevent it from happening. You could try to reach Estrait, though it could be dangerous, with how little you know about it. Gather supplies, fill the tank. I'm considering it. I will.
I know what I'm doing. I'm just also taking time to think. Yeah. I just hate uninstalling them. Take the metal. Gather supplies. Okay, so could modify for the motors, but leave the rover. True. Mark rover and Talus. Gather supplies. Leave it rover. Take the tunnel DeLorean. Actually, before we get too far. Yes. Since I have time. I should have done that in the facility. Really doesn't matter to me. Just because something makes sense doesn't make it more fun. Alright.
I prefer to do things my way, not necessarily the conventional way. Alright. Transfer power. Unlock the admin office. Search for a strape. Unfortunately, the records seem to be heavily scrambled after a point, judging by the timestamps it happened shortly before the evacuees turned up at Santorini. Whatever the cause, it was obviously dangerous and could still be happening. You should be cautious when you reach a strape. Oh. As you make the final connection, the emergency lights throughout the facility flicker to life, and you hear the faint whirring of other systems starting up. Even with it only running the backup systems, the power from the cell won't last long. According to the logs, a strape is essentially a huge power generator. During the terraforming process, it would be responsible for powering the mining and manufacturing operations at the relatively nearby Santorini facility, but that would only use up a fraction of its eventual intended output. The generator wasn't scheduled to become fully operational until after terraforming was complete, but by then, an entire city would have been constructed around it, the first one to be filled with colonists. Each of the other facilities would become the power plant for a small colony, but a strape would be the crown jewel of the planet. Okay, take the water, take the rations, take the protein bars. Exit the facility. Return to the rover. Install all 3 empty power cells. Add fuel to generator. Drive to the dam. Alright. Almost there. Do. All right. Over. So this is going to be the last time loop for today, because I do have work tonight, so I have to sleep. Actually, try to optimize. At least a little bit. Yeah, I'm not gonna make it this time. Which is fine. What I should have done is get the powers capsules, the fuel capsules, gone back to Talos, and done the search from there. But I'm a derp. Alright, so we're gonna save real quick. Gonna come over here and hit pause ads. Or snooze ads, whatever. Then we're going to see who all's online. I'm pretty sure that's actually the first time I've ever paused my ads. So Jess, Chris, Peachy, Captain Kevin's live. All right, Kevin. It's been a hot minute. Alright, so we're gonna go. Dumb. Copy. Paste. Oh yeah. Alright, feel free to use my raid message as we raid Captain Kevin. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you had a decent time. I hope that the day sees you well. Please be respectful as we raid our friend. Again, thank you so much. I'm glad that you were here. And until the next time, take care.